a real estate agent and you're filled with risk, and also you're paying a lot in taxes. We know the story. Believe me, we know the story. Hey there, my name is Ken French. I'm with vastassetdefense.com, and we're here to help you. We're going to do a presentation here that's going to help you to understand some of the risks as far as asset protection, potentially a lawsuit, staving off a lawsuit, and then also ways to lower your taxes. Those are two things that I'm sure as a real estate agent you think about, but you don't know who to go to because there are no specialists in that world. We'll look no farther. Vastassetdefense.com, collaboration of Vast Solutions Group, and also, luckily, we brought on board Bob Bloom from Asset Defense Team. Let's get right into it. I'm going to do a little presentation that's going to help you to really probably understand a little bit more about the solutions out there, because there are solutions for people in your situation. There's the cover page, and once again, vastassetdefense.com. Again, it's a collaboration of vastsolutionsgroup.com, a company that's been around since 1969. Was an investment company that really turned to a tax company working with business owners. Again, 1969. We've been around for a long time and it's working. Bob Bloom, Asset Defense Team, is an attorney. Been around for a long time. He's the godfather of asset protection in the United States, is what I call him. So let's go over specifically why, for you, a real estate agent, why asset protection matters. Exposure to liability. You have massive exposure to liability as a real estate agent. One, not only because of your field, but also two, you're probably amassing some real estate. And when people hear real estate, they think rich people. So what do they think when they think rich people? Potential lawsuits, slip and fall, et cetera, if they're in your let's say one of your properties. Also, you want to protect your personal assets. You want to work for whatever, 30 years, and all of a sudden have a slip and fall on one of your properties, or someone, walking up to the door to knock on it to try walking in, take a look at it, and they slip and fall. Who do they blame? They blame you. They not only are trying to go after your corporate assets, they're also trying to go after your personal assets. You probably don't want to do that, right? Also, you want to minimize taxes. You want to minimize the tax obligation. You want to minimize the money that goes to Uncle Sam. So there's just three of the things you got to think about with respect to being a real estate agent when it comes to asset protection. By the way, we should also talk about, and you want to make sure there's a smooth estate transition to your heirs upon death. Hopefully, that's not going to happen forever, but just in case it does, you can have a smooth and orderly kind of transition to to your heirs. Well, let's go over key principles of effective asset protection. Diversification. You want to be diversified. You don't want to have as they always say, the eggs in one basket. Well, you want to diversify. You want to have eggs in a couple of different baskets, or 4 different baskets, or whatever the case is. So by that, you'd be doing a separation of assets. I'm just making this up, but let's say you have some assets over here, some of your real estate assets. Over here, you have some of your stocks and bonds. Here you have your crypto, or whatever the case is. By doing that, that will limit your exposure. That's what you want to do to the extent possible. Limit your exposure. You don't want everything to be all in one spot. Plus, you want to diversify. What's one way of doing that? Leverage legal structures. People don't realize there are so many unique ways that you can protect yourself from a lawsuit. And by doing getting one LLC, everyone thinks, I'm going to get an LLC. That's not enough. Usually it's going to take a little bit more than just one LLC. Who knows? Maybe it's a trust, 2 LLCs, a holding LLC. Depends on the circumstance. Everyone's different, obviously. By the way, this is for informative purposes only. But what I would say is, one way of figuring that out is, obviously get a hold of us, but talk to your advisor. And I'm a big believer in, go talk to your, let's say, estate planning attorney, your asset protection attorney, whatever the case is, because they know your situation. Some people are going to come to us as just kind of a sounding board. Really, I just talked to someone today. He wanted a second opinion on what his CPA thought. By the way, his CPA was totally wrong in what he suggested. But anyway, that's a whole nother thought. But anyway, those are some of the key principles of effective asset protection: diversification, separation of assets, limiting exposure, and also utilizing entities correctly. By the way, a little ad here. Kevin, Mr. Wonderful O'Leary, you've seen him on Shark Tank. Check out what vastsolutionsgroup.com is doing. They're, using AI. We've been doing AI since, believe it or not, since 2018. We started in 2010, meaning using artificial intelligence, but really we had our own model we call Einstein. And that's really what's helped us in the marketplace. That's why people know of us. because we've used artificial intelligence for real estate agents and investors to lower tax. All right, let's talk about some tax planning. Speaking of which, tax planning strategies for real estate agents. A lot of, Bob Bloom, again, at Asset Defense Team, was talking to a couple of big time agents, and they had no clue of some of the things you could deduct. And a lot of times people are busy doing their own real estate world, doing their own brokerage, doing their own whatever it is, and they don't look into some of the points, some of the things that you can look to lower or limit your taxes or mitigate your taxes. And one way of doing that, yep, you thought of it, you see it, deductions. Deferring income, another way, you could potentially help stave off Uncle Sam deferring taxes. You can defer some taxes in a lot of ways. People don't realize in some cases you could do something not very exotic, 401k, IRA, do defined benefit plan, pension plan, captives that can defer income. You want to defer your income in effect. That's one way of lowering tax liability. And here it's a combination of 401k, profit sharing plans, et cetera, et cetera. But there's unique ways you could do that, especially if you have an LLC that sometimes is off calendar year, depending on the circumstances, that could work really, really well. And I know this is crazy, the reason we decided to look at artificial intelligence, also R&D credits, by the way. That's very important for me to note. R&D credits can lower your tax liability because you get sometimes a dollar for dollar tax credit. A lot of people are using AI for real estate transactions, et cetera, et cetera. So one thing to think about is using AI for R&D. Whatever you're doing is probably, I'm willing to bet you, at least a thought that you could be doing and getting R&D tax credits because of some of the stuff you're doing with artificial intelligence. Anyway, you got to keep an eye on, what's going on in tax regulations. They're changing, always changing, especially more so now than ever. Let's get into a little bit of estate planning. This is something that people don't think about until, sadly, it might be too late. You can use wills, you can use trusts to lower, potentially even lower tax liability, but we're going to get into that a little bit, but into kind of making a smooth and orderly transition to your heirs. So, going to the internet, sure, it might make sense to, get a will, but there's a lot more to it than that. Anyway, what I would say is go back to your advisor if you need any help. They can't help you. We're here to help. Minimize taxes. You can do a lot of specific tactics to lower estate taxes. That's something to think about. Sure, if you do a little bit of planning now, especially as a real estate agent or also as an investor, that can help you down the road. Also, as I mentioned before, it's smooth transition of your assets to your heirs. Do you want to, do you want your legacy to be one that's filled with craziness and chaos, or do you want it to be a smooth transition? There are ways to do that. I would say meet with your advisor now. Also, you can protect your beneficiaries by having that smooth transition. You're safeguarding the information really that exists when you're doing the transition, when your assets are doing the transition to your heirs. Now, let's talk about really quickly our team. By the way, Bob Bloom, I mentioned he's a attorney, longstanding attorney, the godfather of asset protection in the United States. What I would say is, if you need help on asset protection, if you need help on estate planning, he's the man. Me, I've been with the company since 2006. Obviously, we have a different bent. We've been doing artificial intelligence to help small business owners, usually real estate agents, usually real estate investors, to lower tax liability using artificial intelligence in a very, very legal way, an ethical way, as a matter of fact. Liliana Faulkner, she does our communications for our team. You'll be seeing her down the road if you're doing any services or products with us. By the way, we have lots of people behind us. Can't put them all here, but this is the leadership team, and it's we're here to help you. We're obviously by doing artificial intelligence, that's helping us not only in our business but also helping you, meaning the potential client, if you're interested in engaging us, because we believe in pushing the envelope to help the entrepreneur, to help the real estate investor, to help the real estate agent. Hence the reason we've put together a very senior team in doing so. Real quickly, the vast assetdefense.com advantage, customized strategies. We're very proactive, mainly because of our use of artificial intelligence, responsive client service. Luckily, we're getting a name for our service, which is crazy. Then we have a proven track record, and it helps the fact that we've been around so long. The best in the biz is as Deval Patel said, you probably know of him. He said we're the best in the biz, highly recommended. If you want to get a hold of us, here's the way to get a hold of us. Website, vastassetdefense.com, vastassetdefense.com. Email us, info@vastsolutionsgroup.com, info@vastsolutionsgroup.com. You could phone us, give us a call. Old school, 415-212-7001, or you can even text us. We're kind of cool nowadays. 415-212-8189, 415-212-8189. What's the next step? If you really want to, learn a little bit more, sometimes free of charge, we're just going to give you added value education. VastAssetDefense.com, VastAssetDefense.com. There's some tools there that are going to help you in your world, in your journey as a real estate agent, as a real estate investor, or whatever the case is. Same thing with if you need some tools, go to Asset Defense Team. Asset Defense Team. I got to say it slowly and clearly. AssetDefenseTeam.com. If you want some very, very, very helpful resources as far as asset protection and estate planning. Also on the tax side, on the finance side, if you need any commercial property finance, as an example, go to vastsolutionsgroup.com. We're here to help. Once again, my name is Kenneth French, vastsolutionsgroup.com. If you have any questions, need any help, we're here to help you. Hopefully you've learned a little bit, about asset protection, estate planning, taxes as it relates to you, a real estate investor, real estate agent. We're the group to go to if you need more help.